Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at an old scissor, restore it and see do they really not make them like they used to. So this is an old scissor I got that I should bring back to life and we are going to do that. For the tools I'm going to use just normal tools as always, my flat DMT sharpeners, a leather strop for finishing, and because this one is pretty rusted, something to scrape this gunk out of, some sandpaper and just normal cleaning stuff. And in doing so, I'm gonna show you what makes a scissor and what's the difference between these older ones and newer high quality scissors that you can buy. First of all, we need to clean up these two mating surfaces here on both sides. The flats, because in here lies the hollow grind. This is what makes a good scissor, a good hollow ground, because that means that only the very tip and only the very back actually touches during cutting and you have much less resistance. These ones are very, very bad. So I think I'm going to like scrape it with this one and then just, use the sandpaper. I have the very coarse one and just try to clean it up and then expose if we have a hollow grind or not. Alright, that cleanup that took a significant amount of time. You can see all the stuff that came off it. It has quite a bit of pitting, but we are going to, grind this down with the other sharpening stone. What is now interesting is to see the hollow ground. I've talked about, how all of the good scissors will have a hollow ground. However, on this older one, we actually do not. Bit difficult to show you this, but yeah, you can see the ruler is completely flat across the whole surface and it does not change. And I don't think that the rust would make it disappear, because on a good scissor, on the good tailoring scissors that I saw, the hollow ground is significant. It is very, very deep, and so it wouldn't just rust away and by me grinding it down it would somehow disappear. It wouldn't. So this just never had a hollow ground. And this, this will change the behavior, and it does improve it. That is why every good high quality scissor has one. So it is, in that regard, it is simpler, but it is not purely better because it's old. Now we are onto the sharpening. And with the sharpening, we come to the next point. How do we do this? For this one, because we have such a big amount of pitting, I would, and because we also don't have a hollow ground anyway, so there's nothing there to remove. In that regard, this is easier to do because we can flatten this one without having to worry about removing any kind of hollow ground and making it so that the scissor has more resistance. And then we are also going to sharpen this bevel. But then we are coming to the next part. Doing this without disassembly. Because this, on the first glance you look, okay, there's a slotted screw. We can just take it apart. If you look closer, you can see, oh, the slot is kind of hammered through. I don't know, maybe, this was in a drawer and just, repeatedly got hit on with another tool. So we can maybe just, cut this open or see if we can open it up anyway. However, if you look at the other side, this is not a normal thread. This has been riveted, and this has been the case on pretty much every old scissor that I've ever seen. They will always rivet it shut because they just have this simple method of fixation. They will just drill a hole and thread one part of the scissor blades, of the pair. And then they will just put a screw in and then just rivet it to affix it so it does not come loose on its own. Which means there's no easy way to reset the tension other than hammering this rivet shut even further. And also there's no way to disassemble it. On the newer high quality scissors, they will have much more complicated mechanisms with like lock washers, little spring pieces in there. which means that you can set the tension and it will keep, it won't loosen over time, but you still have the option of taking it apart to clean it. And this is something that old scissors, even old hair scissors, do not have. And so this makes it a lot more difficult to work with in that case. Let's go ahead with the restoration. Give a good amount of water on the sharpening stone. Let's bring a bit closer to it. And then just prop this up flat. And it is kind of awkward to get to. You kind of would need to do it from the other side, but then you're hitting the blade. So just do as best as you can and start flattening out the backside. Alright, I continued with the sharpening on both of the flats a little bit until it felt smoother. And this is also where the lack of the hollow ground comes back to bite us, because as you can see, this still doesn't look very good. If we had a good hollow ground, all this pitting wouldn't really matter, because we would just clean up the cutting surface and a little bit here on the back, and that would be it. And we wouldn't care about anything else. However, because there is none, we have a bit of a problem here. Flattening this out completely, you would need to remove so much material, and without being able to take it apart. And I don't wanna, you can obviously take it apart, yeah? You could grind this off, and then you would kind of get it out, and then you would need to, find a new screw and rivet it back together. But I don't really wanna do this. So I'm just going to maybe flatten it a bit more, and then I will go onto the bevels here. And I'm just gonna show you how to do this. Prop it up. Actually very simple, and then need to kind of hang it over an edge. It's a bit difficult to also film this, but kind of hang it over an edge, and then you just find the angle and then just go like this. It is not crazy important that you exactly hit this angle. It really isn't, unless you can't be going like way too steep. You can't do that, but other than that, just roughly follow the angle and then just go back and forth like this to kind of clean everything up. And then I'm gonna do this on both sides and then come back to you. All right, now after say like 20-25 minutes of sharpening, we are at a state where we have a working pair of scissors now. Now I wouldn't use this, to cut hair, but it wasn't meant to do that to begin with. But for a universal household scissor, it works fine. Just have some advertisement paper here. Do some cuts. As you can see, it's working quite well. And even if you take like a few single sheets, should be getting nice and clean cuts. So we successfully repaired this pair of scissors. Now, do they make them like they used to? Yes, you can still get very, very good scissors brand new. Now they are going to cost you a little bit. The best ones that I got from customers to sharpen were the ones from Kai. They have a very big line of all different kinds of scissors, and they were all very, very well made. And I restored several of them that were some were very badly damaged. The tailors, they would probably cut through like the little needles they put in the cloth, and maybe they accidentally cut through that a lot of times. They were looking like sawtooth, and you could very easily restore them because of the very nice pronounced hollow grind. The fact that the older ones sometimes just don't have that makes it very difficult. And also you can't, if you pick one of those up on like a garage sale and it's as rusted as mine was, you can't really tell if it has one. You could try, but yeah. So if you just want a good scissor, there's no reason to buy an older one and restore it. You can just purchase a new one, and then you are well set up and you have a good working scissor. This is just if you want to if you found it and want to spend some time and restore it, but or if you have like better quality ones, it's not that bad. But it is very hard to bring one of these completely back to life. You know, this would take hours of grinding probably, or you know, taking them apart, then it would go a bit faster, but then you need to reassemble it and re-rivet it, and then yeah, it makes it much more complicated. But yeah, that's it. That was it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. If you did, then consider subscribing and giving the video a like, and then I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.